Second movie segment. Welcome to our second movie segment. This was Manic from 2001. This unsettling drama follows teenager Lyle Jensen as he's committed to the juvenile ward of mental institution after brutally beating another boy. Cast includes Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Don Cheadle.
And Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah.
What do we like about this movie?
Spoiler alert, didn't see this.
Oh, okay. What do we like about this movie, Greg?
Well, I really like that. I think the movie nails a generation at a certain point. I think it's really an authentic movie. Mm-hmm. I think it has a really good understanding of young people at this particular time. At least I connected to it. This is a movie that came out, I think, the year that I graduated high school.
2001?
Yeah. Or no, wait, no, the year I was in high school. No, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I graduated high school in 2001.
I graduated in 1999.
It's a very dear time in Craig's memory, as you can tell.
Anyways, sorry, I got confused by the math for a second. But yeah, this movie came out the year that I graduated from high school, and I just kind of, there was some resonance for me. I feel like I understand these characters or have a good insight into these characters, and the filmmakers did as well. Mm-hmm. Whether that was something that was brought by the actors, because they were all young actors at the time. That were, it wasn't just adults playing young people. These were actual young people playing young people. And I just feel like it's authentic in that sense. Obviously, this movie is about crazy people and people who are on the edge.
Yeah.
But I think even just a person who hasn't had that life can relate to these characters, as I think a lot of people can. Because I think there's something in everybody's psyche that is like, I'm kind of almost on the edge, and people connect with crazy people all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I think you see that with movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and things like that.
And here you even have, like, the Native American character.
Yeah.
I'm just like, Chief?
Yeah. Right. So I think that's one of the things I really like about it. It just seems very authentic.
Yeah, and I can definitely relate to it. I have anger issues myself. Like many of the characters in the movie, I grew up in kind of a mentally abusive household where there was always kind of like the threat of violence, even though it never really came. And so I know about seeing like that kind of behavior and kind of like, and then having to basically bottle up and not try to repeat it, because obviously a lot of them are in kind of the violence cycle. The parents were violent to them or whatever, and it's. Yeah, so I could relate to it, but it was also, like, everybody did a really fantastic job. Like, everyone, it's hard sometimes with young actors, like, coming off as believable. Like you said, it does just feel very authentic. Like, you could believe, like, this is a very different Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie. He's usually, you don't see a lot of this pent-up anger in him in most films, and he, like, I believe in this movie, he is Joseph Gordon-Levitt, so not a big guy, but you believe he will tear through you, so it was...
you believe the rage inside of him.
Yeah, definitely. And even just the expression he'll have in his face, like that quiet anger he'll have in his face before he explodes, is just, like, I know that look, and he just nails it.
This came out 2001,
2001.
Not to interrupt. And he had been in a few serious roles, I guess, film-wise. But 2001 was the final year of Third Rock from the Sun. So he was still probably coming out of that shadow of being in a comedy sitcom, and
this
what
is
a career he has gone on to have since
this way
movie.
To break out. He's done other roles since then. He was in kind of a similarly disturbed role in Mysterious Skin, where he plays a character that was molested when he was younger and becomes a teen male prostitute. Directed by Greg Araki, one of my favorite directors, as I mentioned on a previous show. Check that one out. It's good. It's not streaming. Check it out. I don't know. I like. There's not a lot of music in this movie too, and I feel like I talk about that whenever it happens. I like that. It feels real. There's not just music constantly playing all the time over scenes and whatever. It's just when somebody puts something on the radio or whatever, and it just makes it feel like everything about this movie is made to feel authentic. Like you're kind of like trapped in this crazy house.
I was going to mention that as well. I think that works effectively here. I feel like if you would have had that glossy music on top, it just would not have made any sense. It would have just, because this movie is a very gray sometimes movie in a way, and I feel like if you had thrown on top this added soundtrack with, Hollywood or
it would have felt like an
popular
MTV
music,
movie.
It
might as well have been fucking Real World at that point.
Well, I don't know if it would have been real or, but it just wouldn't have been more. It would have been sentimental.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a scene at the end of the movie where Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character has to make a decision of, am I going to run away from this place, this mental hospital? He has a chance to escape and go off and live his life the way he thinks he should, or he could go back and deal with his anger, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that last scene would have had glossy music over the top. It just would have ruined the movie. Mm-hmm. And it also would not have worked just opposed to the format in which the movie was filmed. This was filmed digital video. It's this is the early stage of digital video.
Very
movies.
apparent that is the early stage of digital video, as I will go to later.
You don't like that?
No? I'm kind of on the fence.
Okay. Well, I mean, this is at the time before HD video cameras. I mean, this is so. But anyway, just going back to the music thing, it doesn't work if it would have had that glossy music. I think what we're saying, and I think the way that they did approach it, I think we both agree, was handled very well.
Yeah. One other thing one of my other major likes. Actually, I guess one minor. I thought Zooey Deschanel played a very not like Zooey Deschanel bubbly character in this movie, and I like that. She isn't the biggest part of the movie because it is very much a focus on Joseph Gordon-Levitt for the most part. But she's there. She does a really good job with what she has, and you really don't see that. And not that I think she's a bad actress. You just don't see that. She's always playing kind of a quirky, bubbly character. And here, like, it's very dark, like, kind of clingy to... She's more of a follower in this movie, and she grew up with her mother just verbally harassing her, calling her horrible things to the point where she melts down, and now she's in this hospital. But my other major like about the movie is Don Cheadle. Don Cheadle is already kind of the man. He's got this really great, just soft-spokenness to him, and you can also believe in that aspect of him that he has in the past had to deal with major anger issues, and you see him really struggling with that in the movie, and struggling with this particular batch of kids at this time when Joseph Gordon-Levitt comes in because it mentions he's quit smoking or whatever, and you just see him kind of like teeter back and forth, and he actually blows up at one point.
Well, it's really hard for him to care. Like he's obviously a person that cares what he does, and he feels like he's not making progress at all, and it's really hard to care about your job when you're doing something like this, and to not see results or to see very minimal results, and you feel like you're beating your head against the wall. And he plays that character well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's really good in this, which doesn't surprise me in the least because
it's Don Cheadle.
Yeah, I can't think of
Fucking
anything.
Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
Can't complain it.
Why don't we go into dislikes?
Dislikes. For me, it really is the camera, and purely for the fact that I do give it credit. This, as we mentioned with the whole movie thing, this movie is anti-gloss. It's all about it feeling authentic and is real. And they have kind of like shaky cam. It's always like following people around. But it also kind of always feels like there's like Vaseline over the like there's kind of like it's not the saturation. When the color balance is kind of off and it's too bright, but not like everything just looks kind of washed out and everything's really shaky. Like it's constantly jerking back and forth. And I thought I was going to have to deal with motion sickness problems watching it, which luckily I didn't because I'm very prone to that sort of thing. But yeah, that was always on so I was kind of concentrating on not getting sick the whole time.
Okay.
So, which I don't think everyone's going to have that problem, but for me, like, that's a big issue.
Well, I think it's important to point out that this did come out in 2001. This is before. I mean, this is basically the Friday Night Lights way of shooting a film. So it has that shaky cam type thing going on, but this is before that idea was perfected.
Yeah.
And before the cameras were good enough to be able to do that in a way that's visually okay to watch. So I mean, this movie, it was kind of avant-garde in that sense, and I think you have to have some sense of when it came out in your mind when you watch it.
Oh, and I definitely do. I realize the time that it came out and everything. It's just I think it adds to the movie, but it is also kind of it throws me off as well. So it turns me off of the movie. And otherwise, like, great movie, and I'm not gonna knock it that much for it because I do understand, like, in context. But yeah, I didn't really like that. I thought the casting for the kind of wannabe white kid was kind of weird.
Poser.
God damn it! I wish I would do a little more research for things. So I would look up the guy's name, but he's in a lot of stuff. And, like, usually he plays, like, a nerd, and here he's playing this guy because he is kind of a larger kid, but he's dropping, like, the N-word and everything. It's just like it doesn't feel authentic. Like, that's one of the few things I'm just like, you would put almost anyone else in that role and I would believe it, but he's just played so. And this is just because of the way I've perceived him in other movies. It just seems weird for him. Like, I don't know that I can believe it.
Yeah, I think that's fair to point out, and I would point that out as well. It's the one thing about this movie that just feels odd and
just weird casting.
Because it was an important role in a way, because it's kind of the adversary role. He's the guy that sets up Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character and gets them all excited and wanting to beat somebody up, and so that role is kind of important. And the actor, unfortunately, wasn't very good. I've seen him do some good comedic stuff. So I don't want to knock him a lot, but
yeah, he's good. He's a good actor.
He's in Idle Hands. He's in a number of movies. So I mean, he's good, but not here. And that's I think the one acting thing that takes you out of this movie.
Yeah, it's not even that he's bad at it. He's just so out of place doing this. Like, he does it competently enough, but almost anybody else could have done that role and it looked more the part. And that's a lot of it is like
looking at.
Yeah. I saw the dude on the street. No.
Well, why don't we go ahead and rate this?
Sure. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna give this a 3.5. I'm gonna dial down a little bit because I don't like the camera, and a little bit because of the dude being kind of oddly cast. But this is still a really good movie, a really good portrayal of youthful, like, anger and just not knowing what to do with themselves, kind of situation. That wasn't a sentence.
You want to take that over?
Nope. Leaving it there.
No, I agree. I think it's like we said, authentic. It looks, it sounds, it just feels like a product of its time, and it resonates with me, particularly having come out of that era. I'm gonna give it a 3.5 as well. I think it's a very good movie. I think some of the acting, like we were saying, it knocks it down a little bit from maybe a 4.
Yeah, I would normally give this a 4.
I think it's a very good movie. I think a lot of people should watch it.